From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
You want to go where to buy a new refrigerator? Steve's A to Z Appliance in Cottonwood? In Cottonwood? Just a 10-minute drive. And they'll save us money. New and used, honest, reliable, factory-trained repair service and parts, and they'll save us money. And dispose of this thing? We gotta make the short drive to Steve's A to Z. Thanks, son.
Steve's A to Z Appliance, front and main streets in Cottonwood. Drive a little, save a lot.
Well, happy Tuesday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Kruger. Thank you so much for checking in here with Weather NorCal. You know, there's a free Weather NorCal app. I'm sure most of you know about it, but some of you may not. All I want you to do is this. Just go to your app store on your iPhone or Google Play Store. Search for Weather NorCal. Google Play Store, of course, for your Android. Search for Weather NorCal. And you can look for, when you do that, it'll show up this icon right here. Just tap the install button and you got the app for free. Now, one of the things I like to talk about with the app is the fact that everything I offer at Weather NorCal, you can get right there on your phone. The special programming, the weather forecast you're watching now, you can watch the live 24-hour streaming channel, which of course at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday, you can watch Coffee with Kruger right there from your phone. It's a live update. You can get your 7-day forecast. You can get your daily planner. You can take a look at your neighborhood forecasts. It's all right there on your phone. And of course, you can get a lot of that and pretty much everything from the website as well. By the way, you can also share your photos from the free Weather NorCal app. And I want to thank Kristen for sending in this photo. This is a photo that tells just a big story here. You can clearly see what's going on here. This is the Shelley fire. You got the smoke. Don't see any flames here, but you can see the firefighter right here after a 24-hour shift. You can see just how exhausted they are. So Kristen said her son, who's fighting the Shelley fire, sent this image into her. And again, it just tells the whole story here. Just how hard these firefighters work for all of us. And so just want to thank our firefighters and thank Kristen for sending in this image. And again, if you want to share your photos, any type of photo, like the one you just saw, or a sunset, a sunrise, how you're staying cool during this heat, any cool cloud formations, whatever, just send those pictures. You can do that from the free Weather NorCal app, and you just might see it right here on the morning update or on Coffee with Kruger, and not to mention on social media as well. So let's get to the forecast. The weather headlines, slightly cooler the next few days. We're going to possibly drop below 100 degrees for many of us as early as today and tomorrow for the valley. Now the thunderstorm chances, we saw a lot of thunderstorms yesterday, and of course it unfortunately did spark several fires. Fortunately, none of them did really explode to become big fires, but certainly did happen. Now we still have a chance for some thunderstorms in Modoc County today, especially this afternoon. But temperatures after the next few days will start to warm back up again, that high pressure building back in. And the coast, well, we're not seeing the heat, we're not seeing the thunderstorms, but we are seeing areas of dense fog at times. And that's a trend that's going to stick around for a while. We take a look at your neighborhood forecast at a glance, and we're barely going to touch 100 degrees for places like Redding, for example, but otherwise mainly upper 90s in the valley. Look for the 90s, low to mid 90s for the higher elevations, and there's that chance for thunderstorms out along the coast. Now, one thing I do need to give you a disclaimer on the perimeter that you're seeing here for the Shelley fire. Unfortunately, the agency that puts out these fire perimeters is having a technical problem, and we're not able to get the latest fire perimeter. So this is 24 hours old that we're looking at here, but we do know that the fire, as of 5 o'clock this morning or so, is at 15,232 acres, but we're also seeing that containment go up. Remember, yesterday I was reporting it at 3% containment. Now it is at 6% containment, so good to see. And again, just even though the fire has most likely grown a little bit here, this is basically what it looks like as far as the distance from that latest fire perimeter that we have access to. A little over 3 miles to Greenview and Etna, and about 8.6 miles to Fort Jones. We have the bogus fire, and this is probably the last time I'll be showing you this because, yeah, we're at 100 and 100% containment. So it's still pretty far from Wairika and Montague, which is obviously good news there. We take you to the south, and we're seeing better containment here from the point fire at 85 acres. Hasn't grown, and at 90% containment here that we've seen here. Still pretty close to those communities of Garberville and Redway, but again, since it hasn't grown, there's not a ton of concern, and the fact that we do have that 90% containment really does help. Now, I do want to show you, again, because we did see a lot of those lightning strike fires or lightning sparked fires yesterday. So if you look on watch duty, you see all these little tiny, I'm going to show you right here. Let's kind of just zoom it out here. We'll take this off as well. What I wanted to show you, there it is right here. There's a good perspective. What I want to show you here is all of these little fires right here that kind of popped up, even up here, even off to the east. These were most likely, and of course it still has to be investigated, but a lot of these were most likely sparked by a lot of the lightning strikes that we did see yesterday. We saw, and I posted this on social media yesterday, we saw over 400 lightning strikes in Northern California alone, just from those thunderstorms that we did see yesterday. So just kind of give you an idea what we're dealing with there. And we do have the rim fire, the latest update coming up on that. 10 hours ago, it's 20% contained at just a little over 1,000 acres. We take you out to let's see, the Paradise Fire. That was one yesterday that sparked up most likely from lightning. They were able to get some pretty good containment on that. They stopped the forward progress of it, but still only at 75% containment. My guess is they'll be able to mop that up and hopefully get it up to 100% containment here later on today. So again, just wanted to kind of give you a quick look at that. Let's take a look at the latest and see if anything flared up last night. And as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and refresh that. I'm not seeing that. We're not seeing any orange popping up on the map here, which means that we're not seeing a lot of activity coming in from the fires. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that satellite and radar loop. And again, you can clearly see yesterday, all of the thunderstorms that we did see in the higher elevations, and not to mention the lightning strikes. Still a little bit of shower activity, as we did see yesterday morning off to the north and east, but that should be clearing out, and mainly thunderstorm activity is expected to be in Modoc County. Now, there is a red flag warning for Shasta Valley and central Siskiyou County for this afternoon due to the gusty winds and the very dry conditions, not because of lightning strikes, but because of the gusty winds and the very dry conditions out there. But when we look at just kind of another resource here, it is showing the areas of orange where we expect some of the strongest winds here as we take you through the day today, and that is unfortunately elevating that fire danger. Even some gusty winds for the valley coming out of the south, but there you can see in the Shasta Valley, but even some pretty strong winds here off to the east as well. Now we go into tomorrow morning, those winds die down. That's pretty standard. Now the afternoon, the winds pick up a little bit here, but not as strong tomorrow as they will be today. And the humidity levels, well, we take you through the afternoon. Of course, they do drop as we would typically see. We're down into the single digits for most of us in the valley. You know, all things considered, not as low in some spots around Mount Shasta, but Wairika about 11%, 12% for Etna, and Weaverville about 15%. So still rather low. And then we see a little bit of that recovery going into tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow afternoon, once again, some pretty dry conditions. Looks like a little bit better conditions out towards Etna and Weaverville, but still dry nonetheless. So we look at the fire weather risk here for today. It is in that high range for central Siskiyou County and the valley, not to mention just off to the east here into parts of Modoc County as well. But again, because those winds are dying down on Wednesday, that's going to help matters. And as you can see, it's just not as high with that fire danger really across the board. So conditions are improving when we're talking fires here over the next 24 hours. Now, you can see here the areas of green, the best chances for thunderstorms. I think it'll mainly be in Modoc County. If we see a stray shower or thunderstorm, maybe in northeastern Lassen County, wouldn't be surprised. Maybe coming into far eastern portions of Siskiyou County, but otherwise I do expect most of the dry lightning strikes, if we should see any, and not to mention thunderstorms, mainly off to the north and to the east. So that's something that bears watching here through the day. But after today, that should be it. Take a look at the noon hour. There you can see already starting to see some activity in Modoc County. By the way, we're still seeing that fog persisting even through the noon hour along the coast. Then we go through the afternoon. Again, you see where most of it is. It's in Modoc County. So I think it's going to be hard pressed for us to see anything in eastern Siskiyou, not to mention in Lassen. But, we can't rule out some activity here, and not to mention into eastern Siskiyou County as well. And by the way, again, having a hard time early seeing that fog burn off. It may burn off for an hour or two for parts along the coast here, but not everybody. And then we go into Wednesday morning. There's that fog along the coast. Wednesday afternoon, it kind of backs off a little bit, especially for some of those inland valleys, but overall, still those mostly cloudy skies for the coast for your Wednesday. But look at that. No thunderstorms in the forecast. That is a welcome sight. The rain is welcomed, right? But the lightning strikes, we don't want to see that. So I think most people would rather not see them at all. So there you can see the ridge of high pressure down towards south and east. What's happening, even though it's cooling off today and tomorrow, it will be expanding, growing larger, and getting into our region here. Temperatures increasing, especially after tomorrow. And then over the weekend, we go into Saturday, Sunday. You see how it grows even bigger as we go into Saturday, Sunday. Temperatures increasing even more. But then this area of low pressure right here, what it's going to do is it's going to shift itself off to the east. As it does that, it'll help to push and squash that ridge of high pressure as we go into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we're going to start to see those temperatures begin to drop. So yeah, it's heating up again later this week, but then we're going to see those temperatures drop again as we go into early next week. So the big question I've been getting here over the last several days is how we're doing on 100+ degree days. How many straight days have we seen 100 degrees? Now for Redding, so far, including yesterday, we've seen 18 days. The record is 26. So let's take a look at the calendar. We're going to start off with June, right? Because that's when it started. The 28th of June is when we got up to 100 degrees higher. Of course, we did before that, but that's when the stretch started, was the 28th. So 3 days to wrap up the month of June with 100 degrees plus. Then, so far, every day this month, we have seen 100 degrees or higher. So that puts us at 18 consecutive days. Now the record, as I mentioned, is 26. And I mentioned this yesterday, and I'm going to mention it again today, because today and tomorrow is going to be very questionable as to whether or not we actually do hit 100 degrees. That's today and tomorrow. If we stay below 100 degrees in Redding, that's going to break that stretch, and we're not going to come anywhere near that 26-day stretch. However, if we see at least 100 degrees both these days, now we can add 10 more days to that 18, and you're at 28 days. You're at 29 days, maybe even 30 days. Because yes, temperatures may drop a little bit here as we get into the extended range here, but it's still well above 100 degrees. So this is right here is what's going to make or break whether or not we see that record. And a lot of people, I kind of put an unofficial poll, a lot of people say they don't necessarily want to break the record, but there were some who said, hey, listen, might as well do it, right? Because we're only talking by a degree or two. All right, look at the wave heights here as we take you into this afternoon. We're not going to see much change here over the next 24 hours. Really no small craft advisories, anything of that nature. The main concern, if you do need to be on a boat, is the fact that we're going to be looking at some patchy, dense fog out there. So we'll be dealing with that, but those south winds at about 5 to 10 knots. All right, let's take a look at our forecast here for today. And we're going to go ahead and start off with Trinity County, as we typically do. These temperatures, mid-90s today, tomorrow, going back up over 100 degrees by Saturday, Sunday, and even into Monday. Now for the coast, mid-60s, give or take. And really, it's that time of the year. We're going to be looking at that fog really persisting. Mainly, a lot of it will be in the overnight and early morning hours. We may see some areas that in the afternoons could see it kind of burn off a little bit for a short period of time before it kind of comes back. So it's going to be a little hard pressed. It's going to be kind of that July, we call it June gloom, May gray, right? But yeah, it's still going to be pretty foggy here. Now the inland areas, you got plenty of sunshine. It's cooling off a bit, but then we're going to see those temperatures kind of go back up here as we go into the weekend. Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, 94 degrees out in Fort Jones, 93 for Etna, 90 in Weed. Temperatures also going up in the mountains later on this week as well. 90 in Tule Lake, 93 for Fort Bidwell. There's that chance for isolated thunderstorms, mainly for Modoc County. There you can see, of course, we're looking at 90 degrees for Paradise, 89 for Shingletown, 93 out in Janesville, and Doyle, a high of 93 degrees as well. Here's your Valley Neighborhood Forecast brought to you by NorCal Tractor with your temperatures in the low to mid 90s, places like Corning southward, but we can start to see as you head northward, we're inching closer to that triple digit mark. So you can see, again, it's just, we're splitting hairs. 99, 100 degrees here for the north end of the valley, about 99 for the city of Shasta Lake, 98 for Lakehead, Whiskeytown about 95 degrees. So again, Redding, you're going to be kind of hovering around that 98 to 100, 101 for today and tomorrow. But then we're really starting to see those temperatures increase again as we go into Thursday, through the weekend, and even into early next week.
We're the locals down the street. The neighbor you come to for advice. A nest egg for the golden years. A loan or a new account for that growing business. What started in Chico 50 years ago has taken us all around California, providing big bank lending power and high-tech service while keeping our relationships personal. We're still the locals down the street, no matter where your street might be. Tri-Counties Bank, California's local bank.